no cricket. No cricket to end of the Sunday evening. Thought we're going to have a match. Thought we're going to conclude this. Thought we're going to be able to have some banter on the show tonight. None of that. Just me sitting here talking to you guys about cricket. Now, the podcast show is back again. The podcast show is different to our other shows. If you guys have been following us for quite some time, it's generally just me chatting to my friends that have come onto the channel over the last couple of years when they are available to come talk cricket and just talk life and talk about how things are going, etc., and try to make it at least a little bit more exciting. I mean, I've been down a hectic Man United rabbit hole after our CEO obviously released information, or he was secretly filmed by fans, and he was releasing some information about the club, etc. So I've been in quite a Man United buzz at the moment, as well as the Proteas. So my focus has been by those two teams, and was hoping and really looking forward to the Sunday evening finish. I mean, hopefully, obviously, it would have determined our moods or leading into the next week if we lost, if we won. But there's a lot of things to discuss, I think. Actually, I want to ask you guys a question quickly. We are doing an issue on Cricket Fanatics Magazine for the next issue of the mag, where we're discussing the T20 format, particularly T20 franchises, and whether it is destroying the game or improving our game of cricket in the world. And I'm trying to think of certain people that we'd like to interview for it. So if you guys can think of anybody, put it in the comment section below and we'll try to get in contact with him. We've obviously got a lot of people to talk to if we're going to talk about it saving our game and being good for the game. Then it's not going to be such a big issue. Majority of people don't want to lose money. They don't want to lose opportunities of obviously playing the game or coaching the game. And even the retired players or retired coaches, etc., that don't really like the T20 game, those guys are easy to find. What I need your help with are the guys that maybe don't agree with the T20 format, who don't like the T20 format, who doesn't like T20 cricket. Maybe you saw an article or maybe you saw comments somewhere about it. Let us know in the comment section, because we really need some help with finding those type of people. Here's our first friend on the channel today on the podcast show, Aditya. How are you doing, Aditya? Because I know your life's been hectic. Do you want to fill us in on what's going on in your life? You haven't been obviously as regular on the shows because you've been busy with things that are going on, weddings, etc., and all of this stuff. You weren't feeling that well the other day. Can you let us in into the life of Aditya?
Yeah, it's good to be back, eh? It's good to be back. I was in Ahmedabad this Saturday and Sunday, and I just flew back to Bombay. I arrived just a couple of hours ago, and here I am on the show, so I'm happy to be back. But yeah, it's been a bit busy. A very close friend of mine just got married, so this past week has been about him and celebrating his union. But yeah, otherwise, as invested in cricket as ever.
Awesome, man. We're just catching up, Apiwe. This is the late. Obviously, this is the podcast show, so it's much more laid back. We chat about various things in our life. What's going on in your life? Is there anything that you can throw in there? What's been exciting happening in your life, etc.? Maybe something interesting you saw on social media or anything that you can tell us about?
Oh, what's been exciting in my life? I think corporates had me by the let's bees. Yeah. I'm not sure what language is allowed sometimes. So
You
yeah.
go with it.
Yeah, the corporate had me too much. That's why I haven't been able to join you guys for a while now. It's at least been a few months with me, with the books and then work. So it's been a little upside down on my side.
Yeah.
It was nice to enjoy some cricket on this past few weeks, but
A
been
pity that it
extra
ended like
busy.
this. A pity that it ended like this. I would have liked to see a final result of a year. Hopefully that 3-2 that we predicted.
Especially after we finally put out a team with the correct balance, I felt, because I felt throughout the series we've had just one bowler too many, trying to and going in with that batter light, which I feel South Africa's the balance wasn't at its best with that. I love the balance today. We might pick out a player here or there, but that balance is the balance I think we need to be going with forward. That
I think that's
seventh bowler,
Mm.
that seventh bowler should be an Aiden or a Stubbs or someone like that. We don't need to have a out and out bowler as your seventh guy in a T20 lineup. Is what I think.
That gives us basically the perfect transition into the topic, actually. We normally get to it much later, but I think there's too much to talk about over here with regards to my headline. It's honest, not so even. And this was fully my idea to talk about not so even, because so don't, if you're going to go at anybody, have a go at me for saying that. I made the decision to go with honest, not so even, because I don't feel that the honest were even with regards to what we wanted out of the series as South African cricket fans. For me personally, I said it before the series, I want to solve the issues that South Africa have. Once again, I felt like South Africa went into this series trying to survive, trying to get a positive result only, and that was their main focus. No matter what happens, try to get the result out of the game and win. Whereas India took a very different stance, I feel, in this particular series. Yes, some of it might not have been on purpose, some of it might be forced, but a lot of it was strategy, trying to find those spots that they need. I think they've solved their opening partnership issues. I think Ishan Kishan has shown that he's capable to open the batting for India in T20 cricket. I think there was obviously a discussion about who will be the one that steps up, and I think Ishan Kishan has shown it. The form has been ridiculous since the IPL right through right now. So they found a lot more, I think, answers to the issues that they have than South Africa. We've tried to experiment with Dwayne Pretorius in the series as 3, which I don't think is a very good plan going forward for as a solid number 3. We tried the opening partnership to keep some consistency with the opening partnership, but then Quinny got injured, then Temba got injured, so we never got consistency there. So unfortunately, we didn't solve that issue. We were looking for a finisher. We brought Stubbs, right appointment to bring Stubbs into the mix, but never got to see him play a game. So we solved no issues here. In fact, I think there's more issues that raised in this series than before the bloody series started. So I'm sitting here a little bit. That's why I'm saying honest not so even in this particular case, because I think that there's more issues that have been raised. I am happy, however, that Lungi Ngidi has put up his hand. 2 games that he's played showed his ability, showed that he can crank it up again. 145. We were worried about that. He wasn't necessarily bowling as quickly before his injury. Maybe that injury was hassling him, but it seems like he's fresh. It looked like he had good rhythm. So I think that's a good step up. And the captaincy again, with regards to Keshav as the second captain, I don't know how I feel about that yet. Maybe I haven't seen him enough as captain. I know he captained us before in a full series, but like the decision today, for example, opening up with himself. I know I normally credit certain captains for doing things like that, but it was nowhere near the right decision, I feel, to open up with himself against these particular batters who I think can handle spin quite easily. So it was an interesting thing, but I'm not sitting here as a South African fan really happy after the series. I feel like more problems were unveiled rather than solutions. What is your thoughts there, Aditya? And then Api, where you can also add on to that.
Well, and look, I think these were tricky circumstances, and somewhere I think South Africa needs to take solace from the fact that the World Cup is not going to be played in India; it's going to be played in Australia. And again, I think you have to take into consideration that Aiden Markram did not play. Having said that, I think there are certain decisions that South Africa can reflect on. The first one being, who is the backup opener? Is Reza Hendricks going to be the backup opener for Australia as well? On bigger grounds where you need a little more power hitting to get 6, is that going to be the right option? Then the other is that if you have Aiden injured and you replace him with Heinrich, do you really play him there, at 5 or 6, or perhaps can you promote him to 3? Can you play Rassi at 3, or do you really have to only play him at 4? So if there was one thing that I felt South Africa could have done better, it was show it was be more flexible and show more faith in your players. I feel like they don't show enough faith in Rassi van der Dussen. The fact that you play Dwayne Pretorius at number 3 every single time, I think that's where you missed the trick, right? Because Dwayne Pretorius was introduced as a pinch hitter in that first game when you need to score 211. It worked great, but I think Rassi van der Dussen deserves that number 3 position, and he should have been played there more consistently.
I feel like it's inconsistent messaging from CSA. Like, because obviously they're picking Rassi van der Dussen as the number 3, saying, okay, look here, this is our number 3 for South Africa. We believe in his hitting ability and hitting the long ball, because that's why you continuously pick him. You obviously back him and his ability. But then by not letting him play that role, like, I mean, it's mind-boggling to me that they don't. Are they saying then that we have an issue with the number 3 position? Because then there's a young lighty that's sitting on the bench over there, or in South Africa, or a young boy that's sitting in South Africa that could have got an opportunity in the number 3 position. And like a Deva Brevis, then, if you're not going to give the senior guy opportunities, then maybe give a younger guy a chance in the team, or then try and properly. If you see Klaasen in that position, then maybe play him. So, like I said, I'm sitting here with more questions. I thought I was going to get answers in this tour. And I don't think I got many. People, what's your thoughts on that?
I agree with you fully, guys, both of you. You have Rassi, whose main issue is starting. So why are we making him start even later into the innings where he's going to be against spin, he's going to be against the field is out, he's going to struggle to get going. When if you get him in the power play, he's not going to go crazy and score like Queenie does. But that's when he can pierce the gap and get boundaries that way. Because I don't like saying this, but Rassi does get a lot of dots at the beginning. But those dots can be compensated by a few boundaries in the power play. And he's going at 110 after around then, and then he can kick on from there. You don't want him to start late against quality spin and those guys with boundaries back, and then he feels like he's stuck out there. And then when he does get going, it's the last 2 overs, and what must happen? So the earlier we get Rassi in, if we're going to play Rassi, I believe he should be in that top 3, and 3 is the place for him right now. Aditya said the injury to Aiden Markram was really a big issue for South Africa, and it was. But that was the perfect opportunity for a Stubbs, who is pretty much what Aiden does for us. Comes in there at 5'6", bowls off spin and hits it a long way. So why don't we have, in the role that Aiden's been playing for us as a 4 and a 5 in the middle order and bowling a few overs of off spin, just go like for life with the Stubbs, who's going to do pretty much this. I know he's batting 5'6", not 4'5", but he's pretty much exactly what Aiden's going to do. Gun fielder too. So I really feel like we missed a chance here. Yes, that's another one. It also can keep. So it feels like we really missed an opportunity. Yeah, the game we played him, he didn't get a chance to bat. That's not his fault. Then the next 3 games, you drop him, and it's missed opportunity for me. It felt like we were too desperate to try to get results in these games, where it was an opportunity to get an idea of how we're going to work at the World Cup and what's our way forward as the Proteas. So we should have been getting our template, is what I always like to say, getting our template of how we're going to be playing as Proteas. So now if you're thinking our template is going to be Dwayne Pretorius at 3, I'm not sure, guys, at the World Cup. I really am not sure what the plan is for us as the Proteas.
And also, I mean, identity. Aditya, we were speaking about identity on this channel. We had a whole episode on identity alone. But it's almost like South Africa and the staff, like they look around at media reports, or they see social media, or they're seeing what people are saying. Then they're like, you know what, that maybe is an issue. Let's try to rectify that and try to get a victory over here. Let's do the best thing that we can possibly do to get a victory here. And then there's no stepping stone from there. There's no improvement from there. It's like, oh, flip, that's not working now. Let's wait until we land. It's almost like luck. Let's hope that we land on a type of style or cricket that fits and clicks instead of actually looking at the issues within the team and then solving it accordingly. Like say, okay, we don't have someone at that number 6 position. Who's our best options? Let's pick them. Let's put them in the team and let them play. Let them bat. Let them have the time. If you're looking for a number 3 replacement, give him enough time to obviously play, face enough overs, play the role of a number 3. Opening position. We have an issue with our power play. What are we going to do over there? Who are we going to be picking? Is it going to be Riza? Is it going to be Timba to open up with Quinton? Quinny hasn't been in great form. How are we going to get the best out of Quinny? Because Quinny hasn't done well in World Cups as long as I can remember. So in knockout competitions, he hasn't been the Quinny that we know. Now, the Quinny that we see in the IPL is a different Quinny that we see in the national colors. And yes, I feel that obviously the levels are different. And at least I believe that the levels between international and cricket and obviously IPL is you can't compare the two levels. But still, we've yet to get a tune out of Quinton de Kock in the T20 format consistently. He goes through batches. He goes through batches of scores where he scores well, and then he goes through batches of games where he does nothing. But the best way for South Africa can win games is for me to get the best out of Quinny. So finding his partner is going to be the most important part. I think finding a partner for Quinny that can get the best out of him is going to be important. Like I saw someone say that Riley Rousseau today, he hit 72 of I don't know how many balls, like 30 balls or something like that. So he's doing excellently in another league in a different country at the moment, showing his ability to be able to play in different conditions. He came to South Africa, did well in the T. He basically took Bloom to that title single-handedly. So there's another option maybe that you can throw into the opening mix or to the number 3 mix if you really want to, as an option. But is there enough time to try him out now before? I think yes, because he's a more experienced player, played in the Proteas before, understands what it means. I don't think we need to blood him in. He's the type of player you can just call up, I feel, and put him into the mix, like they did with Wayne Parnell. They just called him back into the setup and he fitted like a glove. So certain senior players you can do that with, and I think Riley's maybe another one that can maybe be spoken about. Although I don't necessarily see the T20 Blast as one of the best score tournaments in T20 cricket. I'm going to be honest over here about that. I do think there's other leagues that are better. The fact that I don't know what the connection is with the IPL, and what the whole vibe is over there and why he doesn't maybe get a potential contract there. I know he's playing in other leagues around the world, but he's an aggressive batter that has showed it before. So we need to sort it out. That's the problem. And I was hoping that this would be the series that Temba comes to the party and shows, look here, I want to be, because I was hoping for consistency. But every time, I don't think, has there ever been 5 games on the trot that Temba and Quinny have played as an opening pair in T20 cricket? I can't remember when that has happened. So, how do you actually practice? And when Quinny's available and Quinny's not, because he's been inconsistent too in and out of the team. Obviously, he pulled out of a World Cup game, obviously for obvious reasons we know about. So we need to find a way to solve these issues. And I feel like we've taken 2 steps back after the series. I really thought that we would be taking 3 steps forward. We could be sitting here more confident and say, you know what, we solved the issues. Now we just have to keep to that consistency leading up into the World Cup. So Aditya, you can add. I know you wanted to say something before I went to Apiwe. Is there anything else you want to say to that?
The thing is, you look at a batting order, right? You feel like 1 and 2 need to lend into 3. 3 needs to lend into 4, and 4 needs to develop the platform foundation to lend into 5, 6, and 7, so that they can finish off an innings. And you can see that you can see the smoothness in the way that an informed, balanced batting lineup can do that. But what I'm getting at the moment is that the South African batting lineup is disjointed in the way that it operates, and I don't know if enough opportunity has been given to, as Biwa says, the template. I don't feel like Temba, Quinny don't necessarily lend into Rassie van der Dussen or Aiden Markram at number 4. it feels like each individual is doing his own thing to make a play for the team, and it's not working. Like it just like something doesn't feel right. You know, that's the thing. Because if you think about it, you look at that first game where South Africa chased down 211, and complete credit to David Miller, Rassie van der Dussen, and Dwayne Pretorius. My question is that if Rassie van der Dussen was struggling on that day, coming in at number 4, at a time when sort of David Miller carried the team and ensured that South Africa remained in the balance, wouldn't it have been better for Rassie van der Dussen to have come in at 3 and struggled? Because that's also a question, right? And it's a matter of faith. No one questions the move now because South Africa won that game. Rassie sort of finished off with 75. David Miller also remained unbeaten. But that's a question that needs to be considered, right? Because ultimately, a good team has a solid process, right? And irrespective of the outcome, they sort of reflect on that process. And that's my question to the management. That do you really want, if your problem with Rassie is that he takes too many dot balls, he's a slow starter in an innings, wouldn't you want that at 3 than at 4, where that could actually cost you the game? So that's my grouse. And Dwayne Pretorius, sure, he was fantastic at 3, but smacking it at 3 in the power play is a very different skill set to smacking it at number 7 when you need to finish off an innings. So the thing is, Dwayne Pretorius needs to be given enough of an opportunity to develop that skill set at number 7, because the defining features of a winning T20 team is in that engine room, which is 5, 6, and 7. And at the moment, South Africa are relying on David Miller far too much to fulfill all of those duties of 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah. I mean, can I ask the panel to just do a quick search for me? I can't do it while we're live right now. What is Temba Bavuma's partnership with Quinton de Kock? What is their record together? I would like to actually see that in T20 cricket. If someone can maybe pull up those stats for me. I know Lorenzo asked the question as well, so I would like to actually see what it is. If someone can just do that quick info search for me. How do we create that synergy up here? Because I honestly believe that I thought that before this all, and obviously more conversations I have with more cricketing people, the more I think about it, the more I start changing my ideas, my thoughts. It improves. It grows. I don't just stick with my opinion and that's it. Like I try and find the best solution in between everything and listen to everybody. I thought that if Timba and Quinny could find some sort of synergy in running between the wickets, etc., doing those type of stuff, that they will try and create they will create that type of partnership automatically, a synergy between each other. Because I always go back to that interview that Quinny had when he was captain, talking about Timba as a great partner for him, someone that understands his game and that he feels comfortable and calm with at the crease. And that gave me more indication, because I was like, that's more mental, that you're talking about mental stuff here, that I feel is probably the weakest aspect of Quinton de Kock's game, is the mental side of things. I think that he sometimes gets frustrated, or he plays a few couple of shots that he gets irritated. You can see the way he was run out. He was just like, whatever. Like, it wasn't like, let me try and get back even if I don't make it. It was just like, whatever. This comes across like that a lot with Quinny. And I just thought that having a captain at the other end with him, someone that's a little bit more calm, that can play proper cricket shots to get, it almost seems like Pavuma's been peer pressured into playing a type of game that maybe doesn't suit him.
So what I think might be strange is I think they both out of form. They're not really in the best form, which makes it seem like their partnership can't work. So I think an informed Temba and an informed Quinny, we wouldn't have this discussion, because an informed Temba will pierce those gaps, will get those boundaries in the power play, will rotate and run threes with Quinny at the top, and we wouldn't be discussing this. But it's just that Temba's been so I think maybe the pressure of trying to bat as quickly as Quinton or something has gotten to him, and he's terribly out of form at the moment. He's got a shot here and there in between where he shows you the timber, the flick or of the pad, a scoop here and there. You can see what he's got, but then to put it all together into an innings where he's striking at 120 in the first few overs, finishing the power play at about 130, 140 is exactly what we need. Then they can slow down after that. But they're just out of form. I honestly believe they're just out of form. It's not a matter of they can't click together, they don't get along, or their partnership isn't working. I think they're both out of form, and then they're putting pressure on each other because now Queenie feels like he needs to go at that strike rate of 200 because he needs to compensate for their whole partnership not going. Then it ends up being nothing. It's not like they're getting a part of this and a part of that. They end up getting nothing, but both of them end up not performing in this way. And that's, for me, when we're going into this, was the main problem. Once we get those two in form, then Rasi can even come in at 3 with a guy who's already going, and then it's a lot easier for him to get going. And then, because I believe, for me right now, the Proteas have Aiden at 4, Miller at 5, and a Clausen or someone like that. That 3 there is power. If it's Clausen, if it's Stubbs, that 3 there from 4, 5, 6 is power. You can structure it however. When I say Miller, Aiden, and Clausen, any of them can bat at 4, any of them can bat at 5 and 6, depending on the situation. And if it's spin on, maybe you want Clausen in on Aiden in, something like that. But those 3, I feel, need to be our engine in that middle order and get us through. So once we solve that top order, then Rasi can go back to 3, I think. Then
I have a question here. Like, we're talking about Temba's form, or the fact that he's out of form. I think he's in form because he scored 100 recently in ODI cricket. He's played his best Test cricket this season, and generally, if you look at a player who's doing well in 2 formats, that confidence typically flows over into the 3rd format. And I don't know whether it's an unclear game plan or whether it's adaptability. I don't know what it is, but I feel like Temba's confidence shouldn't be low at the moment, given how well he's done in Test cricket and ODI cricket.
I mean, I think it's more about the rhythm, match rhythm, game time. You know, with the others in his team, especially in the T20I team, have been playing cricket and have been involved in camps, training hectically with other world class players, like at the IPL and other formats. I mean, even guys that never played in the IPL, they got to play in other formats around the world as well. Other games, they went to England, for example, or they went to go play county cricket, or they did something. Whereas Temba didn't do anything. You know, he wasn't playing any other cricket. And then he comes into I mean, he even said it himself in one of his interviews. He said he hasn't really played much. He's coming into this with no game time, you know. And we saw how some of the players, like the Ray Shamsi as well, struggling with his rhythm. He was on the form of his life. The Braves was running through everybody, like like he was literally in the form of his life. And now he looks like a half the player that he normally is. And it could be just amount of game time played, lack of game time played as well. Whereas with Quinn Lecoq in international arena, I do feel his runs comes in clumps. There'll be 3 or 4 on the bounce, and then silence for 5, 6, and then another couple of good run, and then he goes silent again. I mean, here Werner's put up the stats. He went to go look. He said Temba and Quinton have 12 innings as a partnership, 383 runs, an average of 34, a high of 92 with 250s. Not sure about the strike rate. So from what we can see from that, they've had some time together as a partnership. I wonder how that is compared to other people that maybe Quinny opened up with, and how that compares. Temba's overall T20 striker is 124. He just isn't a natural big striker. He looks classy and he's doing well in ODIs and tests, but T20 is a different ball game. It is a different ball game. And the questions are gonna need to be started to is like someone asked me what happens. I think let me just ask that question to the panel, if I can find it. Um, Here we go. I think this is it. Lorenzo says, question to the panel: in terms of our batting, which players are currently a concern and could find themselves scratching their heads? And I think Pavuma is one of them with regards to his batting. I think with regards to captaincy, he's been. I really like his captaincy. I really like what he brings to the team from a captain, and we need to decide now if it's worthwhile going to risking that for a captain, for a good captain. If it's worthwhile risking that at the top of the order, knowing that Rassi's coming in at 3 and then maybe a pinch hitter. My problem is Aiden Markram, because when Aiden Markram comes back, he must start. He's that good in this T20 game. So that means there's going to be issues around somewhere else. You're going to drop informed players. You're going to either have to drop Heinrich Klaassen or informed players that have been done who've been saving us in games. David Miller, Rassie van der Dussen, Heinrich Klaassen are now 3 players that have put up their hand and said, look here, we need to be here. So you either have to drop one of them to keep Temba in the team, and that's where the problem is going to come. I think that's where the biggest issue is going to happen within the South African setup, and I don't know what the answer is. I was really hoping that this India series would be the answer to this, that we would start to see what they can do as a partnership, because I think maybe Aditya you can give me maybe some insight into this and what was said, because Rohit Sharma and Quinton de Kock have batted together at Mumbai for many years. I don't know what their record is on opening pair. I don't know. I don't think I've watched enough of them as an opening pair to be able to analyze and say if they complement each other, whatever the case may be. But I'm sure you have. And were there any interviews maybe where Rohit has spoken about Quinny and their partnerships and what makes them a strong partnership or not? Has any information like that popped up in the India media at all?
See, the thing is with Rohit and Quinton, you look at the Mumbai Indians setup. Okay, certainly the one that Rohit and Quinton played in together. That team, that's an example of a batting unit that has synergy, that lends itself into one another. Because you have Rohit and Quinton going hard at the top of the order. You have Surya Kumar Yadav coming in at 3, Ishan Kishan at 4, Hardik Pandya at 5, Kyron Pollard at 6. So basically, it's the point of that lineup is that every single individual just has to start smacking from ball 1, because if Rohit doesn't kill you, Quinton will. If Quinton doesn't kill you, Sky will. If Sky doesn't, then Ishan will. If Ishan doesn't, then Hardik will. And we're not even mentioning Krunal Pandya in here, who was brilliant for Mumbai there as well.
So it's attacking
So-
class all around the team actually.
So that's the thing, right? Like, that's an example of a batting lineup that has synergy. There's structure there. And to me, that's what I find is missing with the South African lineup. Because you have, let's look at the last game. You have Temba and Riza open the batting. Okay, and then the two of them are not able to strike it big. And then you have Rassie van der Dussen, who's also a slow striker of the ball and takes some time to get going. So the only player in the team who can actually bat with a T20 strike rate, so to speak, is David Miller. He's basically the only guy in the team who can bat at that rate. And that to me is what the problem is, because when Aiden Markram comes in, he's going to take some of that load off David Miller. But that's where the problem is, in my view.
Sorry, this is a really funny comment. I'm sorry. Oops, not this one. Not this one. The next one. We want David Beavis in the ODIs as well as T20s. Why does CSA not see our social media comments? If they're gonna start picking teams on social media comments, I mean, my word, we're gonna see Amla and Herschel Gibbs back in the team. It should probably be better than what we have now currently, actually.
I mean, there's still so many people who do that, because I look at Gibbs commenting on all of these people, commenting about all of these people every now and then, and it's hilarious. It's literally hilarious to see Gibbs's analysis on some of these things. And he said that South Africa should have wrapped up the series in the third game itself. It's tentative batting that cost them.
Yeah,
So I think that's
100%.
fantastic analysis.
Like we talk about wanting to play brave cricket, and this is what irritates me actually, because I'm trying to find out the best possible set of the best possible team with the information that we've been given by the media, by everybody, by selectors and everybody in CSA as well. We say we want to play this attacking brand of cricket, but then we pick all these slower guys that have lower strike rates. I mean, like I've never like from this is what I like to say. I've said this many times on this channel actually. People see me as a defender of Temba Bavuma, right? I defend Temba Bavuma for the unfair criticism that gets rude and racial and dehumanizing. That's where I defend him, because I don't believe that the criticism matches the performance in that manner to get the ridicule the way he does on social media. And that's what I defend him with, because people become racist and they throw the quota word around and they start becoming demeaning. And that's what I defend. If he's going to be a crap cricketer in T20 international cricket, I mean, he hasn't really done himself favors. He showed flashes of his abilities to be able to do it, particularly on wickets when it is not conducive to really smack the ball out the power play and all of those type of things. He's shown his ability in those. And then he shows flashes of these scoops and great sweep shots that shows, oh, maybe he can do this. And then maybe we should start reading into his stats, and not from a statistical point of view of saying 15, you got 15 50s and 1500s, whatever I don't know. This is all fictional. I'm not saying this is his stats, but instead of looking at it that way, look at the conversions and say, hey, you have an issue in every format to convert. Test cricket, you struggle to score hundreds. ODIs, you struggle to score a lot of 50s. You get big hundreds sometimes, now and again, you get 100 here and there, but you struggle to score regular 50s and get that 100 mark. T20s, you struggle to get to that 40-50 mark in T20s. So he has obviously a problem with getting to those marks at the pace that he needs to in his natural way. So every time Temba Bavuma walks to the crease, I don't know what to expect. Like, I shouldn't be sitting here thinking, how is Temba going to play today? It gives me a lot of anxiety. So I don't know if it gives the managers the same anxiety, but if he's going to continuously play like this, if England's going to be a poor tour for him and he doesn't do well and he doesn't show some signs, there needs to be proper thinking about how we're going to go into that World Cup. Actually, for me, it's too soon. It's too late. They should have made this decision already. It's too late almost. It's a really problem. It's obvious. It's really giving me anxiety. And for me, for this particular series and this World Cup, if this World Cup doesn't go like I wanted to go, like at minimum make a semi-final and then get into a final, right? Like that's what I would like to happen, is minimum probably a final. I want us to improve on the last tournament. A tournament that nobody rated us, nobody thought we'll do well, and we exceeded expectations. I hope that we can match expectations this time around and show that fight and that ability from the get-go. But if it doesn't work in this World Cup, I want to change things. I think then Timba needs to step down from captaincy. We still got 2 years. Maybe after the ODI World Cup, he can step down. But I think as T20 World Cup, then he needs to step down as captain. I feel that a new captain needs to be put in place with a mentality that we're going to play the style of this type of cricket. And we're going to go towards that goal. No matter what happens, we're going to pick players that suit that style of cricket rather than trying to fit the style into the type of players that we have. Initially, I said maybe a good idea would be, because South Africa is supposed to have some of the most adaptable batters in the world, playing multiple different conditions. That's what I was hoping for from a South African standpoint. I thought that the talent coming through, that's the talent that we have. They've showed that they can improve their games against spin. All of our batters have done that now. Even in the domestic series, in domestic games, they've shown that there is improvement against spin. Okay, that's the swinging deliveries, the swinging balls. That's difficult for any batter to face. I don't think even the best of best batters fall to that. But I want them to now change that mentality, not just pick players and then build a strategy around that. If we say we want to play an attacking brand of cricket, then we need to adhere to what the fans saying. Quick power plays, making sure that you have a striking number 3 that can turn it on and adapt his game. You need a number 4 that can really hit the ball out of the park, a number 5, number 6 that can be dominant. You need all-rounders that can do the same thing. Then we can start picking. If it doesn't work, and that person's maybe not that person now, then it's interchangeable. It's not something that you have to change the whole set where you play, which is what we have currently. When Temba Bavuma is not available, Quinn is not available, we have to change our whole game plan. The whole strategy goes out of the window because now you've got two batters at the top of the order that are opening that are going to bat slow and Rassi. Like exactly what Aditya says. I like the fact that he mentioned that actually bleeding into each other. So it's very important that they flow into each other. That the players' strategies flow into the next one. That's how I felt with this. Even with this India team, I felt that way. When I was watching this India team's batting performance, I felt that way. I felt like, you know what? Next person can come in and move up the strike rate. Next person comes in, you can move up the strike. I wasn't fearing that we're going to be stuck or that we're going to have dot balls. I wouldn't have feared that as a South African supporter because I feel that India have said, this is how we want to play the game, and they've picked accordingly. There are certain players that got left out that maybe weren't right for this format. And perhaps Temba Bavuma isn't right for this format. Perhaps he's starting to show that. But I struggle to see that when I've seen him do it domestically. And I know domestic and T20 is not international is not the same. The step up is different. And T20 international cricket, we can obviously put things in place, etc. But this guy needs to up his strike rate. He needs to bat better. It's simple as that. It needs to be said. So we need to sort out what's going on here because I think too many things. Markram comes back. If we had Markram available, I think it would have caused more problems. Like, what would we have done? Who would we have dropped? It would have caused chaos. And I think, who would have been dropped? I think that they probably would have dropped Heinrich. Even though he doesn't deserve it right now. At this moment in time, he doesn't deserve that.
Aiden was around. Sorry,
Go ahead.
if Aiden was around, where would Rassi have batted? Does he go further down? Does he go further up? It's all a mess. Our approaches team should be templated already. We know where Rassi bats, no matter who is around. Because now I feel like Aiden might have influenced where Rassi bat. Aiden might have made Rassi even... Because there was a time where Rassi came in at 5 in a T20 game, and I'm just like, why is he going further down when the start is the problem?
Yeah.
The thing is, Khalid, how can one player in the batting lineup disrupt your plans in such a dramatic way? How is that possible? Because it means that I can understand. Look, if 4 out of 6 players have COVID or something like that, and you need to rejig your entire batting order, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Because that situation is out of your control. But how is it that the absence of one player can sort of confuse you to that degree? Like, I don't get it. And in this case, I guess 2 players with Quinton de Kock and Aiden Markram. And the reason that I think this confusion even exists is because they still don't know what their best batting position is.
I mean, obviously they brought in Pretorius at 3 because they didn't have Markram in the team and they didn't have another maybe explosive batter. But they still had an option to do something about that. I still think they had other heaters in the team that could have done that role. Better than Dwayne, actually, in my opinion.
But think about it. Dwayne contributed 29 runs of 12 or 13 balls, right?
Yeah.
He ensured that South Africa stay in the game after they lost early wickets.
Good for one game, yeah.
That's great. Can we say confidently that Rassie van der Dussen would not have been able to do that at number 3? I know he struggled in that game, right? But he's known to start slowly and then catch up. Towards the end of the innings, can Rassie van der Dussen not score 29 of 12 balls? That's my question. Because the thing is, that day, Rassie van der Dussen was dropped when he was batting on 29 of 30 balls. If he gets out, then if that catch gets taken, South Africa lose the game. Everyone forgets Dwayne Pretorius is 29 of 12, and you're back to square one. We'd be having a totally different conversation right now about what South Africa's batting order should be. And that's my question, right? If the concern about Rassi is that he's going to be a slow starter, let him be a slow starter at 3 as opposed to a slow starter at 4. Because even if he really wants to break the shackles at 3, he has the advantage of being in the power play. So he might actually get away with that risk, but he won't
Yeah,
be
and
able
I
to do
don't.
that if he comes in like in the 11th over at number 4.
And I don't agree with that. That Pretorius at 3 is only because Temper bats slow at the top. I think it was because of the early wicket and not having any runs in the power play and then having to make that up. Um, I'm just, I'm not, I'm not happy. Chepo's over here. He wants to say a couple of things. We almost towards the end of the show, though, Chip. So I want you to have a little bit of a rant and give us your say. How are you doing, bro?
Hello. No rants today. I just want to say, yeah, Timber's batting slow. I was hoping that maybe things would change, but yeah, look, he's not on form. He's not striking the way he should be striking. He can up his strike rate. Um, but I'm not going to sit here and just defend him without him giving me things to defend him with. Yes, he can
Yeah.
contribute here and there. Um, but yeah, like you would need a strike rate to up, or if his strike rate doesn't go up, at least give us a Rassi-esque innings where you start slow, but then towards the end we see what it was worth it in the end. I think that Dwayne Pretorius coming in at 3 was because Aiden Markham wasn't there. And as you guys said, we needed runs early. Um, but yeah, like to all the fans that are out here, um, on Timber's case, yeah, I don't think it's unjustified now. But yeah, I think we need to have just I think we didn't have a full strength squad, or we didn't play our starting 11 for this whole series because of we didn't have everybody there. Aiden Markham wasn't there. Um, KG didn't play one game. Tabrez Shamsi didn't play games either. It didn't. It wasn't the perfect game. There wasn't like 100% all the time. So yeah. Um, and honestly, guys, this last game, we would have seen different things. Lungi Ngidi was making that ball talk, guys. Yo, we would have different chats now if this game was over. I just want to say that we'd have different chats. We were coming with a vengeance. We were showing that we're a bowling side. And yeah, we weren't Popeyes. Today looked like a game that we're taking seriously. The game 4, I'm not sure, just because of some of the decisions we had there. Keshav Maharaj in over number 16 specifically was like, WTF, guy. We had the game and now we're just throwing it away. So yeah, I think, and Kesh bowling himself first over. Come on, my guy. Don't do this, my guy. Come on, Chief. After we saw what KG and Lungi were doing, guys, I think it was weird. Also, last thing, how did spin suck this series? Like, how? That was the biggest surprise for me. Like, spin got decimated everywhere. And pace bowlers were having a ball. It looked like the Wanderers out here. Like the way the ball was moving, Boovi was having the time of his life, bro. Avesh Khan was having, this guy was bouncing South African batters. I'm like, what is happening? Is this the Wanderers? So, yeah. But yes, there are some question marks on our team. Um, in the power play, I think, yeah, no, it's hard to say that. It's hard to defend Temba now. I'll say that. But I don't think it's the wrong decision to have him there. And I think just his role, the same as Rassi's, is that he needs to just bat deep in a T20. And it might not be conventional, might not be what everybody wants in a T20. But it looks like that's the plan for the South Africans, because we just have, I think we're going to back our bowlers to defend whatever we put up, or we're going to back our batters to chase, but we mustn't lose wickets. That's the key. If we lose wickets, then we're in trouble. But yeah, that's my 2 cents.
This man on the top right of the screen, he mentioned that the wickets aren't going to be as spinner friendly as we think. I mean, I was talking a lot about spin being an option, and it's India, and that was my whole mentality, same as you, Tsepo. And he put me in my place, actually. He said he doesn't think that's not going to happen. So, Aditya, can you maybe answer that question? Because it is something that I think a lot of fans would want to know. Why weren't the spinners as dominant as we presume they would be? From both sides, actually.
It's a question of, well, I think getting the best out of spin is a combination of the right conditions and using them well. I think in both cases, spinners weren't used very well, and they didn't adapt to conditions particularly well either. I thought if there's a standout spinner, is Yuzi Chahal, who came back spectacularly to take, I think it was 3 wickets after he had been clubbed by Klaasen in the second game. So I think Yuzi adapted to conditions brilliantly, and I didn't see that. I think Shamsi looked a bit rusty. Keshav also looked a bit rusty. So I don't think they were at their best. But look, you're not going to get a rank turn. You're not going to get a dust bowl in a T20 game. That's not going to happen. There will be more balance to ensure that there's enough for batters and bowlers in these wickets. So I just didn't feel like. I felt like spinners could play, and I'm surprised that they didn't do as well as they probably should have. But having said that, it's not like the pacers were going to be out of the equation completely.
Okay, let's get final words. Apiwe and Sipo, you can end it off.
I just wanted to say something there that Chepo said. He said that Temba must bat deep and try to have the people bat around him. I'm of the idea maybe you should do what Hashim Amla used to do. Try attack the power play and don't bat long. Like get your 15, 30 balls by batting most of that in the power play and taking advantage of everyone being up and your class, because they are touch batsmen. They just get it through the gap, and we hope that could be the way to get it. And then Rassi is our other anchor to go deep with the rest of the power hitters. So I don't think we need Temba to bat too long. If he's getting his 50 of 30, perfect. Then we move on to the other guys to hit the ball for longer. That's how we score 180s and 200s. Because I think if Temba bats too long there, we're also hoping Rassi gets batting too long there. We end up with 160s and things like that. And at the moment, those aren't winning scores. I was thinking, you mentioned something, Khalid. You said bravery. It was mentioned a lot at the beginning of, I think, this coaching regime, that we brave cricket, brave team, whatnot. But then going in with 5 batsmen and is not right now, especially with our batting being the problem. We can't have all-rounders at 6, 7, and 8 and trying to get runs from all-rounders. I think if we really want to go hard, we need a top 6 of batsmen and then all-rounder at 7 and 4 out-and-out bowlers with Aiden or a Stubbs or a Klaasen even to bowl you an over here in between. I think that should be our template at the moment, and that's the way we could win games as a Proteas.
Yeah. And look here, guys, if it's a quota thing, mess around with the bowlers. We've got enough players of color in the bowling department. Like if it's a quota thing, which I don't think it is, but I'm saying if it is a quota thing that people are saying, oh no, he's only playing because he's a quota player, whatever, they have enough players of color in the bowling arena to be able to fill the quotas. So they don't need to actually force it. They don't need to force it in the batting side. So that also doesn't make sense, that narrative, because they don't need to force Tapavoma into the team because they've got 2 black Africans that can play in Lungigiri and KG Rabada, who can play every single game. And then they've got 2 spinners in Keshav, and they've got the Bray Shamsi, 2 spinners over there, players of color as well. And if they throw another person of color maybe into the mix somewhere else like Parnell, then you've got the full quota. You don't need to play the Bavuma from a quota perspective. So there are answers for the quotas as well. But like, I don't understand. Like, why logic can't prevail over here with regards to these type of things, because there's a way of us putting a team on the field that is representative of South Africa and to still get results. There definitely is. Tsepo, what's your thoughts, your final words?
Yeah, just quickly want to agree with Apiwe. Just to correct myself. Yeah, Temba shouldn't bat deep. That was a bit of a brain fade. I was even saying it on commentary. He should be, because that's not his style. He needs to be finding gaps, running between the wickets quickly. It's high risk at the beginning, but there should be low dot ball percentages because that's what he does. And like gaps with the he should be away. He should be able to put away bad balls because he can. He has the ability to do so. Obviously, the selectors and the coaching staff and like the team see something in this guy, and he somehow in the first 2 games there were glimpses of him getting the best out of the team. We did reach 200, guys. We can't say that we can't reach 200 with Temba batting at the top order because we have and we can. But yeah, he just needs to connect. He needs to step up with the batting and just make better decisions from time to time. But yeah, at the end of the series, this is a series where I personally feel that we have the ingredients to win a trophy. That's how I genuinely feel. And with these guys, we can, if we just get the right combinations, not conversations, because we've already had the tough conversations. These guys are gutsy for that. Yeah, so me personally, I'm looking forward to seeing where this team goes. I'm looking forward to seeing potentially a trophy. And yeah, looking forward to the haters being quiet. Yeah, Khalid, honestly, you took away all the racists here. Honestly, I want them to stay here so that when we win, I can be spiteful. I can be a proper spiteful guy. Because yes, then we did it. Because I'll do it with pride. But yes, I'm a proud fan. I think we did well. I think we can hold our heads high after this performance. For the first 2 games, the last 2 we just missed the trick, bad plans. But that's life. That's cricket. And yes, once again, proud SA fan.
Yeah, Aditya, anything you want to say before we leave?
I think if South Africa can sort of get the process right, get the thinking right, and take the result out of the equation, they'll actually win more often than not. At the moment, it seems like they're after the result, but the process is a bit haywire. So I think I'm just going to reiterate what I've been saying throughout this series is that they trust their players, make sure that they're playing in the right position. Rassi Vanderdos in the right position is number 3. You cannot play David Miller any lower than 5. You have to get that right, and don't be that dependent on Aiden Markram or Quinton de Kock to give you that power hitting. The rest of the lineup has to be good enough to be able to take on any opposition on any given day. So the absence of a couple of players shouldn't have that much bearing on the team's performance.
Yeah. So, like, I want to end this stream, and this thanks a lot to everybody that came on. Apiwe from on the last minute came on. To Tsepo as well. Thank you for coming and joining us as well. And Aditya, as per usual, what I think of you. But anyway, thanks a lot to everybody that's joined the show, that's been supporting us. Please subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell to get some notifications on when we put up videos. There might be certain videos that we do live. There might be spur of the moment videos that we do if there's a breaking news story that happens, like we did with AB de Villiers, etc. When he wanted to play for South Africa again, we came live immediately. So some shows are going to happen like that, where we do go live immediately. So just be aware. That's why I say click the notification bell and click all videos, so that every single video that we post, you have all notifications immediately when we do go live, or we upload anything as well. But guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, subscribe. Also, subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. We got some new Patreons. Please join the Patreon family. This is how we can get you exclusive content directly to you. As a patron, you'll get content that nobody else will be able to see because we create a lot of free content for you guys, 100% free, no charge at all. So please help us out with the Patreon account. It really will, we really will appreciate it, and we can maybe get some guys sorted and secured. Obviously, in this company we're trying to build. But guys, thanks a lot for tuning in, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow with another daily show. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you very, very soon. Peace.